This is an interview with Dorothy. I'll write your name as you put it in the form, Marie Johnson Bilinski, at the Division of Military and Naval Affairs Headquarters, Latham, New York. It is the 5th of June, 2003, approximately 1:30 p.m. The interviewers are Mike Russert and Wayne Clark. Could you give me your full name, date of birth, and place of birth, please?
On my baptismal record, it's Mary Dorothy Johnson. But
Okay.
on my birth certificate, it's Dorothy Mary Johnson. I married John Bilinski, so that now I'm Bilinski. My date of birth is 10/3/23.
All right, and where were you born?
Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Okay. What was your educational background prior to entering the military service?
I finished high school. I graduated from high school, and I entered the service primarily because I wanted to continue my education. My mother was a widow and couldn't afford it, but that got shot down when I met my husband-to-be.
Okay. Why did you select the Navy?
There was a sign out to the front of the post office when I was strolling by with my cousin one day, and it said, "The Navy needs you." So we went in and asked some questions, and we signed on the dotted line.
Okay. Could you tell me where you were and what you remember when you heard about Pearl Harbor?
Yes, I was in a small family-type restaurant in Green Bay where I was helping with waiting on tables. And it was the Spanish View Grill. And everyone there was devastated. We were shocked beyond belief. We just couldn't believe what was happening.
Okay. Now, where did you go for your training?
I went to Hunter College in the Bronx in New York.
That must have been quite a change.
I should say so.
Had you
Especially
ever-
because it was the second week in December, just about Christmas time. It was kind of lonesome.
Had you ever been away from home prior to that?
Oh yes, I had worked in Chicago after I graduated from high school in Cicero for a while. But I stayed with some friends of my family, so it wasn't really like I was all by myself, on my own.
Now, when you went to New York City area, did you, that friend of yours that you...
No,
Where'd
she
you-
went in another direction.
Another
She
direction,
went in
okay.
another direction.
All right, did you know anybody at all? when you
No,
were moved
no,
here?
but I soon became acquainted. As you can see, I'm not afraid to speak up and out, so it doesn't take me long. And besides, people in the Midwest are very friendly.
Okay. What was some of your training? What did you do?
Well, mostly when we first came in, we were trained just in the chain of command and things like that, and drilling and parade work. And we had a very nice drill instructor, and Miss Blunt, and she used to, when she'd get perturbed at us, she'd say, "Dear Gussie," and which was quite often.
How long were you at Fort Hunter, or at Hunter College?
I think it was 8 weeks. I think the hardest part was when we got all the shots and we had to reach up and make those beds, and I was in the top bunk. Very hard on the arms.
Okay. Did you receive any specialized training at all?
None at all.
And where did you go after you left there?
They'd sent me directly to Camp Detrick, Frederick, Maryland, which is the Germ Warfare Center. Now it's known as Fort Detrick or something. Yeah. And I was trained in a job there, and I had the rank of Seaman First Class, and I could never take any classes to become anything more than a seaman because I hadn't been to corps school. So I was just trained in the job that I was trained in.
What job was that?
I worked in the munitions division. I was not involved with, as they say, any harmful germs. I just, common every day, we used to, we had a grid area we had to go out to, and it had stakes in a circle at different intervals, and they'd have to know which way the wind was blowing, and it had to be a nice day, and they'd detonate a bomb, and we would put ampules on these stakes, and there was a vacuum pump on the bottom, and then depending which way the wind would blow, we'd have to put them in the direction that this stuff from the bomb would come. And after it was over, we'd go and collect the ampules, bring them back to the lab, and put the cotton in beakers with distilled water and let it set a while, and then we'd have to take and pipette it out into Petri dishes with agar and then put it in the incubator and have it, see how those germs grew. And that was my job.
Did you wear any kind of special protective clothing at all when you did
We
that?
just had to wear, like smocks and masks and something on our heads when we, and the pants, the white pants. We had like a uniform, but it was like they wear in
A lab type uniform?
yeah, It was not so-called protective, it was just, I guess, to keep our clothes clean.
Okay, do you know what kind of germs they were working with at all, or?
I haven't any idea, but I know some of them had to be very bad because my husband was in a different section than I was, and he was told, well, when he was there and after he left, to never give any blood transfusions. So whatever he was working with, they didn't, he could have possibly infected someone else, evidently. And there were some people that, did become ill there, and they just disappeared. We had no idea where they were going. And another thing, when any of the critters, we worked with a lot of critters, not I didn't, but a lot of people did. There were monkeys, there were mice, there were rats, there were guinea pigs. And I remember one time a monkey getting loose. And they didn't even try to catch the poor little critter, they just destroyed him. So
These had been exposed to some?
evidently, they were using him in some of the tests, but, so I have no idea what some of the things, it's only just lately been becoming knowledgeable.
Now, you sent us this article about this June Hope Ellis. What, did you know her?
I had met her, but she was, above me, and she didn't work in my department, so she was, but as some of the other girls, there was Loopy, just went away, and we never knew what happened to
So
her.
she was exposed to something, and you don't know?
Yes, yeah, I don't know what.
And it said that she was discharged with a disability,
Right,
so.
right.
And you have no idea whatever happened to her?
I have no idea what happened to her, because, there were, the only way I found out about this is reading this article in the paper. They told us nothing at the camp.
So with somebody like that, they just disappeared and you didn't know?
Right. They just, took them away, wherever.
Okay.
Now, I noticed you said you had visited Camp David.
Yeah.
When did you go there and
Oh,
why?
it was a weekend. There were supposedly some important people coming to Camp David, and they wanted somebody to talk to and to play cards with and to shoot pool with. They had everything there, And I was mostly amazed at the swimming pool because it had all colored lights underneath. And it was beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. But that whole area is beautiful.
Now, was the president there when you went there? Or?
No, no. But there were evidently some important people, but I don't remember who they were now. It's so long ago.
Now, you were at Camp Detrick for your entire time in the service?
No, when Japan surrendered, then a lot of us were let go. I was sent to Norfolk, Virginia for 15 days. And then from Norfolk, I was reassigned to Bainbridge, Maryland. And there I was running blood tests on the sailors and Marines that were coming back from overseas.
And what were you doing with the blood? You were just examining it
Well,
or put it in somewhere?
I didn't draw the blood, but I had to do the centrifuge work and get it back to the,
Now, what were you looking for?
I don't know, I guess some disease or, if they had any communicable diseases or any sicknesses that, could make them very ill or whatever. Or, it was so they could be discharged with no problems, evidently, and couldn't come back at the service.
Now, where were you when you heard about the death of President Roosevelt?
I was in Washington, D.C. at one of the Waves homes with my husband and with some of the other people from Camp Detrick.
Now, were you married at the time?
No.
Okay.
We were on an outing. We went there to see a football game, I think.
What was your reaction or the reaction of your group to this?
Absolute shock. I mean, we thought, oh my heavens, now what is going to happen, It frightened us because we were young.
What was your reaction when you heard about the atomic bombs being dropped on Japan?
Well, I didn't like it. I don't like what's going on today, but what control do I have? You just take it and you have to.
At the time, did you think it was a good thing because it ended the war, or were you apprehensive?
I thought it was good in the fact that it ended the war, but I felt so bad for all those people. I don't know, somehow it seems so wrong to do things like that. I wish it had never been invented.
Did you ever see any USO shows while you were in the service?
Oh yes, and I loved going right, I think it was right on Times Square, the USO had we used to go in there all the time for our coffee and donuts and sociability, that was very nice.
Did you ever see any celebrities?
Oh yes, I saw, let's see, who did I see? Kirk Douglas, and I saw, you ask these hard questions. Let's see. Some of the girls I saw. Oh, Danny Thomas I saw. I saw Sammy Davis. I just can't remember the names of some of the other ones.
Did you, when were you discharged?
May 6th, I think, 1946.
Where were you discharged?
In Washington, D.C.
Okay, now you said you met the man that would become your husband while you were in the service.
Yes, at Camp Detrick. Yeah, he was in the Army. I was in a special unit of the Navy that was stationed at the Army.
What did he do at Camp Detrick?
He was in a different department than I was, and I know whatever he did, when I'd walk by the building he worked in, he'd throw snowballs at me. But where he got them, I don't know.
Did you ever keep in contact with anyone that you served with?
Yes. Marge Beadle, she's now Woodruff. She lives in Florida now. She was my bunkmate at Camp Detrick, and she just called me from Florida last weekend. And I used to keep in touch with one other girl who lived in Peekskill, because I was from Wisconsin. We would work at Camp Detrick, we would work 10 days and then we'd have 3 days off. Naturally, I couldn't get to Wisconsin, so we would go to Peekskill, to her family's home. And her name was Mary Gilbert, and I kept in touch with her until 2 years ago at Christmas time, and then she just hasn't responded to me, and I haven't been able to contact her husband or her children. But I used to go visit her, and she used to come and visit me. The last I heard from her, she called me, and she was on her way to Cape Cod, and she wanted me to join them. But my husband had a stroke and was, under my care, so I was not able to go.
Now, you said that one of the reasons you joined was for education. Did you ever use the GI Bill when you...
Never. No, because I got married, and, I used to go to the Bilinski factory and, do something, hang around and do what I could do there. I never did continue my education, sorry to say.
Okay. Did you ever join any veterans organizations after service?
No, I didn't.
Okay. You had some photographs to show us. If you could maybe hold each one up and tell us about them. Could you tell about that one? When
Sure.
that was taken?
Well, this was taken in 1946, and it was my engagement picture.
Okay.
These were some of the friends I met at Bainbridge, Maryland. This was taken outside the lab at Bainbridge, Maryland.
Okay.
I was home on leave, and this is my Uncle Bus
Now, where was that taken?
in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
I could probably give you... Oh, I'm
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Oh, this is a good friend, Joe Donovan. He was best man at my wedding, and this was taken in Green Bay, Wisconsin when I was home on leave.
Okay.
This is my mom and my stepfather. This was taken at the same time when I was on leave in Wisconsin. And these are relatives taken in Green Bay when I was home on leave.
Okay.
These are my discharge papers and that just certifies I was in the Navy.
Okay, just hold that there for a second and get it all. Okay.
And this is my husband and myself in our engagement picture.
Okay, it looks like, was your husband in the Army?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
And his name was John?
Yes,
John
yeah.
Bilinski of
Yeah.
the Bilinski
Oh, okay.
family? And he's from this area, correct?
Yes,
That's why-
yes.
Okay.
He was born
Mhm.
just up the street here.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
you said Wade Street.
Yeah.
Okay. And these are some photographs you had sent us.
This is taken with my cousin Val, while home on leave. And this is the graduation picture from boot camp.
Do you know where you're at in that picture?
When I finished boot camp?
No, I mean, whereabouts?
Where are you
Oh,
in the
yes.
photograph?
Oh, I'm in the, right here.
That you,
Right there.
okay, got it. All right.
How do you think your service changed or affected your life, or do you think it did in any way?
Oh, heavens, yes. I wouldn't have been here had I not been in the service. I'd have been back in Green Bay, I would imagine, you know. But I don't know. When I got out of high school, I went to Chicago to work, so I probably, I consider myself one of the first hippies. Myself and my buddy Mary Gilbert, the one I told you when we were very good friends when we were in Camp Detrick. There was no public transportation, no bus stations, no airplanes, no train station nearby. So we used to get out on the highway and hitchhike. And then sometimes we'd go to the airfield that was run by the Army, and we'd hitchhike on a plane. We just, you know, we had an awful lot of nerve.
Seems like you enjoyed yourself.
Yes, I did. I loved it. Because in my department, there were only 2 women, and there were over 200 men. And they spoiled us. They made our duty very interesting and very light.
Okay. Well, thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for the interview.
Oh, you're welcome. I talked your ear off.
No, that was fine. That's what